When I started doing it, I didn't want to tell anybody what to buy. And because I had a couple of different brands, I actually learned on the old wooden ones. That's how I started, was with the 40-inch, 50-inch snowshoes that were wooden framed with the long tails. That's what I snowshoed in, because that's what you want for the deeper snow. For competition purposes, you want the smallest thing that you can put on your feet. But like I said, back then I didn't like to tell people what to buy. Now I will tell you what to buy. I will tell you that if you have the money, you want to buy those. These are the Special Olympics, and I take great pride in being part of the movement that caused them to change the rule at SOI. I got to write the position paper and talk to some of my buddies with the National Snowshoeing Federation, and they helped us get the documentation we needed to get the rule change. At the beginning of time with Special Olympics snowshoeing, the size of the snowshoe was an 8x25, which is these. And everybody had to have them. You could have bigger, but you couldn't have smaller than 8x25. Now, as of last year, we got the rule changed, and we can now go 7x20. And you'll notice, honestly, when I was thinking about it, apparently I don't have much of a dimensional mind. I really didn't think it was going to be a big deal. It is. And if you can put these on an individual with Down syndrome rather than these, because you can snug these up to a smaller foot or a younger person, you want these. Unfortunately, they're a little bit more expensive. Fortunately, Red Feather Snowshoe Company, which is a company out of Wisconsin, and by the way, it's individuals with disabilities that make parts of the snowshoe, so I really like that factor as well. But Red Feather has done a deal with Special Olympics for the last few years, and I don't think they'll ever change. They've been getting some really nice press for it. They give it to us at cost. So that pair of snowshoes there is probably a couple $100 pair, and I got them for less, like $90. And I think that the current price list will be on your desk. Generally about August, I start calling my friend Rose at Red Feather and asking her for the new catalog and the new price list to get out to coaches that are interested in it. So you can always call me, but Carolyn will always have it, because I just introduced Carolyn to Rose. So, and you can call Red Feather yourself, and you can get to be friends. Her name is Rose Jones. She's the most wonderful person that ever answered a phone, and she will get you the price list, and you tell her you're Special Olympics. They don't question you, they don't ID you, and they give it to you at cost. They used to give it to us at cost and free shipping. They can no longer afford to do that, but it is still at cost, and they will ship it directly to you. We used to have to, Julie used to do the orders, and then they would come to the office, and then you had to figure out how to get to either, Bloomington Normal to go pick them up, or then they got transported to different locations piece by piece, because Special Olympics can't go shipping stuff, doubly. So anyway, but they will ship directly to your house. So really great organization to work with, and they're quality snowshoes. Once upon a time, I couldn't advocate for Red Feather. I didn't feel like they were the best product. They changed something about their bindings. I almost said they changed something that I didn't like, and that would have made it sound like it was my idea. And it was just, I didn't like the binding, so I wouldn't advocate for it, didn't use it. And then I tripped over a pair that they were selling, and they had changed the material that they were using for the binding. I'm a big fan now,
and they guarantee them. We had a pair that had been well worn, and one of the claws on the bottom came off, and this is a well-worn pair of snowshoes, and they replaced it for free, the whole pair. So, it wasn't like it was a brand new pair and something happened. It was a very well-worn pair.
I do still carry a couple of different brands with me. What I wanted to be able to show you was, if you're on a budget, these are called the Conquest, and I don't really expect you to remember it, but you'll see it in their catalog. The Conquest, it comes in, it's an injected mold plastic snowshoe. They're fine. They work quite well. They're a little heavier than the others, than the aluminum, but for the dollar cost, if you've got to go with the lowest dollar, they're fine. All right. Everybody at competition right now is using the hikes. These are the 8x25s. This is what everybody had to use. If you see people racing, is there gonna be only races for snowshoes that size versus snowshoes this size? No. I can wear those, you can wear these. My advantage is, less weight on my feet. My disadvantage is more weight everywhere else. But there is an advantage. There's an advantage to wearing something lighter and smaller. But is it a huge disadvantage to somebody who's not a pure sprinter? No. If we're all kind of in the same, we're still divisioning by time. So whether I run my time in those and you run your time in these, if we have the same time, we're still going to compete against each other, and it's not gonna be an advantage at that point. Okay. But I did want you to see some of the different bindings. I had one other one, but I think I forgot it. I think it's in the back of the truck at home. There's some different things that help individuals be a little bit more independent with putting their bindings or putting their snowshoes on themselves. There's one that's a drawstring binding that at least, somebody with a little less dexterity can at least pull tight and help you put them on. There's no rules in Special Olympics snowshoeing about the athletes having to put the equipment on themselves initially. Once they're out on the race course, if they lose a snowshoe, they must put it on themselves. You cannot help them at that point. We're going to talk about that briefly in just a little while. This snowshoe here is probably the easiest one I've ever dealt with as far as a binding and making life easy. It's from Atlas, and so you just slide into that heel cup, and then you pull, and you're in. I mean, that's a zip-zap, really quick way to do it. Most of the snowshoes now, if you had somebody that's really challenged that can't get their feet up off the ground, these are the lightest ones ever made. I don't know. I wore them for a snowshoe race a couple of years ago, a 10K snowshoe race, and on the quality snow that we were on, I don't know that them being light really helped me. But at that point, for 10K, anything, made me happier to think I was dragging less weight. But if you have somebody that is really challenged about getting their feet up, maybe it's the way to go. They are expensive. Those are a company out of Wausau, Wisconsin. There are a couple of different designs. Unfortunately, this is the smallest one in this design, but I bought them because I was curious to know if an individual with cerebral palsy who's got a turned-in foot might benefit from this cut. I'm not sure. I haven't had the chance to really test drive it on somebody. It was just a little bit of my own, mind games with myself to wonder if this wouldn't help, because if somebody has that automatic toe in, if having less of that to step on might not help. If you can look for any of the ones that have the tail instead, this is more of a racing type style. So it's nice to look at that, but there again, they go up in price. The best bang for your buck is still the hike, but they don't make them any smaller than the 8x25s yet. So if you have the money to go for the smaller ones, do the smaller ones. If you need the money to be spent well, I would say the hike, the Conquest is a cheap version, but I said they're a little heavier, so I don't know that that's the best thing. The hikes come in, I think, at about $75. Those are at $50, and those are around $90. So they're a great thing to ask for Christmas presents. One other thing, there are some individuals, and we've had some athletes that have snowshoed that used Kenny crutches. We have one athlete from Area 12 who her walker actually is on skis, and then she uses snowshoes. I had an athlete that I worked with that uses a wheelchair for most of the day because it's more energy efficient for him. And when he was learning how to snowshoe, it was October. They had already done their last mow of the grass. The grass was kind of long, and he was trying on a pair like that with the long claws, and he was struggling. We changed him to these, which have a really small bear claw, and he was able to scoot in the grass quite well. But remember, ideally we're doing this on snow, so that shouldn't make an impact. And he does still snowshoe using the hikes now. So that's the basics on what's out there.